We are at phase 2 of Gregg Popovich's rebuilding effort, and some new faces have joined him, namely Harry Maguire, who makes his United debut against his former club Leicester tonight. Well, all the Premier League teams have taken their places. The only seats that are left to be taken are yours. Take your seats. It is time for the Premier League to begin all over again. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Old Trafford in what could promise to be one of the most contested Premier League seasons in recent history, with so many changes afoot at Manchester United and Leicester, incidentally, and a couple of big managerial changes in two of the top five, with Unai Emery at Arsenal and Maurizio Sarri at Chelsea. But there is that lingering fear with Pep Guardiola still at Manchester City that it could just be more of the same. We hope not, for the league's sake, and Gregg Popovich is surely not going to let that happen again. David De Gea is in goal, Fusu Mensah is with Lindelof, Bailly, new signing Harry Maguire and Borthwick Jackson in a 5-man defence today. Pogba and Henwood play back midfield, ahead of them will be new man Alexis Sanchez. Anthony Martial also has a new strike partner in the form of the very highly rated Alex Hunter. Plenty of change at Leicester City too, but not in goal. Kasper Schmeichel starts as always. Ricardo Pereira is with three new signings for Leicester in Johnny Evans, Ruben Diaz and D'Ambrosio. And Ibra is with Ndidi in the back midfield. The front midfield is Gage with Madison and Albrighton, but there's no change up top for them either, in the form of as always, Jamie Vardy. Plenty of turnaround at Old Trafford during the pre-season for Gregg Popovich, and it's looking a lot more like his squad now, isn't it? Quite a few goings out to start with Juan Mata, Nemanja Matic, Romelu Lukaku, Ashley Young and Antonio Valencia and Sergio Romero. A lot of players, of those players were particularly older players, and most of those sellings have brought the average age down of the squad considerably. I think the average age is now like 27. So the average age has definitely been brought down here at United, and I think it really does fit with what Gregg was trying to do last season. And when you think about it, that could be the case. We all know Gregg's experimentation era, when Manchester City were further out in front than probably could be expected to people to catch them. So Gregg started experimenting with his squad. The likes of Joel Pereira and Angel Gomez came through the ranks really quickly, and Joel Pereira's reward for his effort was to be promoted to secondary goalkeeper behind David De Gea. So that meant Sergio Romero was moved on and he left to Besiktas. And since then, a lot of the dead wood, as you would call it, is gone. And Gregg Popovich, in the pre-season tournament, in the American Challenge Cup, his pre-season tournament of choice, he stated that a lot of when he was questioned about outgoings, he said, well, a lot of these players aren't really mine, so something will be done about that. Now, everyone was questioning, I think everyone kind of pointed to Romelu Lukaku, Nemanja Matic, and Victor Lindelof, but the only one of those three to survive has been Victor Lindelof, as Nemanja Matic was shipped back to Chelsea in the irony of all ironies, and he's now under Maurizio Sarri. With Romelu Lukaku, whether he was a player or not, we don't really know, because Gregg was very vague. But in the end, he didn't really have a choice, did he? Because the £105.9 million bid from Real Madrid actually broke the release clause in Romelu Lukaku's contract, which meant, like it or not, he was off to the Galacticos to bolster their attack. Which leaves the likes of Juan Mata, who's signed for Lyon, and Marouane Fellaini, that was shipped off to AC Milan. And I think that's offside against Vardy. I think Fellaini to AC Milan was always coming, because Gregg was very adamant. We are building a winning culture. He's not interested. So first offer I get, he's out of the door, and out of the door he inevitably was. And I think after the comments he made at the end of last season, I think a lot of fans would say good riddance. So this is really looking like Gregg's squad now, and you can see it looks considerably much younger than people would have expected. There is still a kind of few experienced names there, Phil Jones, Aaron Henwood, Chris Smalling, but at the face of it, it's a very young squad now. in particular with young Alex Hunter and Danny Williams. Danny Williams actually making the bench this evening. Those two in particular are very interesting stories in that they were drafted in through an exit trial to pro contracts and then recommended by George Baker to Gregg Popovich. And I think when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Gregg Popovich having his experimentation era with a lot of young players proved that, that's what Greg likes. He likes young players. And everyone thought that Alex Hunter and Danny Williams would really benefit from it. And we'll have to wait and see. But with Danny Williams, not a lot is known about him. He's really looking to be a target man for any club he signs for. The one thing that's big and known about him is his older brother Terry Williams, who is an all-star at PSG that is recovering from injury. It's very unlikely that we'll see him this season, if at all. In this season, that is. And talking of big transfer fees from Romelu Lukaku earlier, well, that's a huge one, isn't it? £105.5 million spent from Manchester City in that one signing alone. Spurs Christian Eriksen. I, for one, think that's rather ludicrous, but I guess it is Christian Eriksen. But 105? It's a bit of a questionable one, to be honest. But let's see if he's good value for money. Well, obviously, that puts a lot of pressure on Christian Eriksen, to be fair to him. So we'll have to wait and see if he can live up to that. But to continue with Danny Williams and Alex Hunter, obviously, it's very unlikely we'll see Terry Williams this season with him recovering from injury. But with Alex Hunter, well, Hunter heritage is in effect here because Alex Hunter, as you know, that's a good save from Schmeichel. Alex Hunter, as you know, the grandson of the legendary Jim Hunter, the Spurs legend, who scored those phenomenal goals in 68-69 season, culminating in his 100th goal that was scored in that sweet as a nut volley, as John Motson called it in commentary, against Coventry City. With Alex's dad Harold, he looked to be going in the same way, didn't he? So promising, and obviously, sadly, horrific injury cost him his career, unfortunately. But most recently, his half-sister Kim Hunter has just recently became a World Cup winner with the United States in the Women's World Cup in France. So Alex naturally has a lot of expectation on him considering his family. But if we know Alex Hunter, he'll write his own legacy, I'm sure about that. And but rather than sign for his home club of Spurs, and the club which his legendary grandfather played for, he's chosen Manchester United for the fact that George Baker recommended them to Gregg Popovich. So, did he really have a choice? Probably not. But I think if he did, Manchester United, we know that they are, or they were at one point, the proving ground for young players, and I think that's what Gregg Popovich is trying to bring back here. A lot of their identity was focused around young players, and a lot of people felt that was lost in the most recent seasons. But Gregg Popovich is trying to bring it back, it looks like. There's Alexis Sanchez in towards Alex Hunter. Oh my goodness me! What a twist! We were just talking about Alex Hunter and how he'll write his own legacy, and he scored on his debut. What wonderful wicked cross from Alexis Sanchez. And Alex Hunter, cool as you like in the box. And absolutely no surprise, given his granddad and his dad were both strikers. And Kim Hunter absolutely lit up the World Cup in France. So I think it's almost no surprise in that regard that Alex Hunter has opened the scoring for Manchester United and opened his account for the season. We shouldn't be surprised, but we're going to be excited anyway, because that's what Alex Hunter provides. For any club, and well, Gregg Popovich, it could just be an inspired signing, couldn't it? And he's given Manchester United the lead here, and I think that will not be the last. I can guarantee you that we'll be saying that Alex Hunter has scored a goal for his club. That will not be the last time we say that, and who knows, maybe he'll start scoring some goals for England as well. Of course, Jim Hunter was rarely clapped for England that much. And Jim never won the World Cup, FA Cup either. So Alex has a lot of making up to do as well. And when you think that Gregg Popovich did make the FA Cup final last season, even though he inevitably lost, my apologies, that's a high possibility. And Gregg Popovich is unfortunately 0 for 2 when it comes to finals, because his team ultimately lost the American Challenge Cup against Bayern Munich. Of course, you could probably forgive him for the fact that he was up against Bayern Munich. Fuzu Mensah. Oh, he played it into Aaron Henwood in the box. You know, so many pre-season stories will try and keep our eyes on the match for a moment. But there was one unfortunate twist to the tale, and that was the situation involving Daley Blind. Ambrosio with the cross, Lindelof putting it away. And that was the unfortunate situation of Daley Blind. It was a selling that Gregg didn't want to make, but he felt that Daley Blind wouldn't really play as much as he probably would have deserved, given the squad. And I wonder if there's an intention that he'll buy him back at some point. And we'll have to wait and see. Here's Maddison with a low cross, and David De Gea just about reaching that. That was a bit of a nervy moment. So Timothy Fuzu Mensah there, as you can see. There were 3 players that Gregg singled out for time this season. Timothy Fuzu Mensah and Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, 2 players he wanted to return from their loans last season. And Taif Chong, who's been a real rising star in the United Academy. So there'll be 3 players that we will be inevitably keeping our eyes on. Oh, Kasper Schmeichel he's had a missed kick there. Alex Hunter was flying at it, and unfortunately he couldn't get his head on it. That would have been almost a certain goal there by Alex Hunter. So not to be. Crossed in and cleared away by Fuzu Mensah out for a corner. Well, fans have been eagerly awaiting the return of Timothy Fuzu Mensah and Cameron Borthwick-Jackson. They were very promising youngsters under Louis van Gaal, not utilised under Jose Mourinho. The Gregg Popovich has turned a lot of these younger players around, like Luke Shaw and Phil Jones. And hopefully Fuzu Mensah and Borthwick-Jackson will follow suit. De Gea punches that one clear, but it's only out as far as Ndidi. Here comes Mark Albrighton. Albrighton with a fake shot, and Aaron Henwood puts that one out for another corner. Well, it's Maddison with the shot here, and Aaron Henwood does get his foot to it. Captain for tonight, with the absence of Ander Herrera. Obviously, in Herrera's absence, Aaron will be most likely captain, as he's the vice captain of the club. And the longest serving player in it, of course, which will continue as he signed a 5-year contract extension which will take him to 2023, with every expectation that he will finish his career at the club as well, which will most likely be under someone else unless Gregg Popovich decides to stay on. Obviously there was that situation in April with the sad passing of his wife, and Manchester United fans would have understood if Gregg wanted to leave at the end of the season, but he chose not to. He was going to honour the agreement that was set together, and like we said probably at the top of the show, they were really thankful for that, Manchester United fans, because the improvement is obvious. Even if the gap to City was a little bit bigger than they would have liked, let's be honest, 19 points, that's quite a margin. When you're Manchester United and you've set the standard for all teams in the Premier League for many years, that's quite a margin. So Gregg is tasked with bringing that gap down. And I think with this squad, that is a realistic objective for the season, because this is a squad that is going to need a season or so to gel together. A lot of young players in this squad. I mean, Alex Hunter immediately has made an impact with an immediate goal, of course, which puts them in the lead of the game.
The fourth official has indicated
3 minutes of added on time at the end of his first half, in which has been fairly even, but Manchester United have definitely been on top on the scoreboard. Pogba. Ambrosio. Fuzu Mensah. Absolutely tremendous. He's been knocked on the deck. Next up for Manchester United will be a tough matchup against another one of the youngest squads in the Premier League in Brighton at the Annex Stadium. And Leicester will go to take on newly promoted Wolves. And speaking of fixtures for a moment, I think we have to have our heartfelt sympathies to Unai Emery, who has got not only the champions Manchester City in this weekend, but then Chelsea the next. And if he can navigate those with a draw, there will be a very good result in his first 2 games in charge. Well, in this first game of the season, Manchester United have the lead, and I guess we should really say no surprise that the goal scorer is Alex Hunter. He came in with a lot of hope and expectation and hype, considering his family heritage, but he's read a page of history all on his own by being the first goal scorer in the Premier League on his debut here tonight. Manchester United 1, Leicester City 0. It's all good for Coach Pop so far. Welcome to Old Trafford, here for the second half in this opening Premier League weekend. And this is our first coverage, of course. And Manchester United are a goal to the good, thanks to a debut goal from Alex Hunter, who was immediately burst onto the scene here at Old Trafford. Oh my goodness me, and Lindelof is kind of a 6s and 7s there, but he's back on his feet. There's a whole collapse in the box there and off the post by Vardy, and out by Fusu Mensah, out for a corner, I think. Oh, Jamie Vardy hitting the post here. And David De Gea in no man's land. Oh, he might have got there, you know. He might have just got there. But it was tipped down by Fusu Mensah, out for a corner. And Gressel takes and headed away immediately by Martial. And Ambrosio brings it forward. Brighton puts it into the box, although it's on the edge of the D, as it were. As Mbaye flies at it, and Maguire heads away against his former teammates. Hunter, great control of the ball there from Hunter, and now Henwood again here. And now Martial, he's given his man the slip there. So much was happening, I couldn't get my words out. There's Gressel to confirm the next Leicester matchup that is against newly promoted Wolves at the King Power Stadium. It's a great cut up by Timothy Fusu Mensah. He's going to be a star this year under Gregg Popovich. This is Fusu Mensah's time to shine now. He's back on a Manchester United pitch. It's great defending by Lindelof. Manchester United looking a lot more of a defensive force this afternoon, or this evening rather, and tonight even. Sanchez keeping with the patience, we're keeping the ball. Alex Hunter, oh, it's phenomenal, but he's just put it over the bar. This wonderful control from Hunter, and he hit it first time as well. Oh, Alex Hunter, he's putting his name up in lights, under the lights tonight. Oh, that was a star-studded turn. It was beautiful. Everything but the finish. And back there by Brighton. Right over the top, headed down by Bailly. And controlling distributed by Sanchez as Henwood tries to find Hunter. Gressel. Wonderful defending by Lindelof again. I think that's why Gregg Popovich kept him on. And we'll ball for Jackson. Gregg Popovich having a 5-3-2 tonight, actually. A new formation that he kind of brought into his learning process. He really is a fan of either congesting, having wingers in the midfield or fullbacks. He's very fond of wingers with pace, which is very evident in the likes of the returns of Andreas Pereira last season. Ndidi. And Albrighton, oh, it's a good goal. That's a very good goal by Albrighton. Or is it Maddison? I think it's Maddison actually with the goal there. That's a very good goal, to be fair. And just a lot of space left there in the box, and Maddison took advantage. It's a wicked passing here. Look at this. And then Maddison, he seems to telepathically read it. And that is a stunning goal from Maddison. First time as well. That is a great goal. No blame on David De Gea for that one. That is just a brilliant goal. That happens. And Maddison has brought Leicester level then. So we've got a bit of a game going on here. And we are all tied up at 1 apiece. And that's a stunning goal. Jackson. Maguire. Bailly. And Love. Just being calm and slowing the play down a little bit. Pogba. Spotted Fuzu Mensah on the overlap. Mensah with the ball in. Oh my word! Who is that? That was a phenomenal strike. I think it was Sanchez. It was Alexis Sanchez. A debut goal for Sanchez, and it was absolutely tremendous. Watch this. Fuzu Mensah, brilliant cross. And oh my word, it's a header. I thought it was more than that. I thought it was acrobatic from Sanchez. Because from that angle, it looked like Sanchez was going to hit it with the back of his heel into the back of the net. But instead, he heads it in. And that's a great debut goal for Sanchez as well. So debut goals all round for Manchester United so far, and instantly back in front. And Gregg Popovich will take that 2-1 to United, back in front. And it was a lot less spectacular than it looked, but even still, Sanchez will most certainly take it, I can assure you of that. And we've got a bit of a game here, haven't we? Brighton trying to put it in. Well, he's definitely done an admirable job with Leicester since taking over from Craig Shakespeare, hasn't he? And he's certainly got them fighting at Old Trafford this evening, but Manchester United just too strong at the moment. Martial pulls it in towards Hunter. Ndidi. Great tackle from Bailly, and he's found Hunter. Hunter's a real fox, isn't he? He's like everywhere, Alex Hunter. Jamie Vardy. And taken by De Gea. Bailly. Sanchez. And that's the kind of work you can expect from Alexis Sanchez, that goal. They're going to be him and Henwood are going to be a real problem for the Premier League clubs this season, because they are tireless, hard workers on the pitch. They cover every blade of grass they can possibly get their boots in, as it were. That's a wonderful tackle by Wilfred Jackson. This kid has potential. Wilfred Jackson and Fuzu Mensah are definitely Manchester United's most exciting players this year. Aaron Henwood, the most experienced. It's just such a nice looking blend that Gregg Popovich has curated here. And they're probably one of the most exciting teams in the league this year. But will they keep pace with the relentlessness of Manchester City? And obviously Pep Guardiola wanted to send some statement of his own, because he probably saw Manchester United really improving well. And that's what Christian Eriksen was a statement of intent from them. Brighton. By Lindelof. Mensah is there again, isn't he? And she's relatively unfortunate to concede. It was a very good goal from Maddison, though. Take nothing away from him. Tremendous goal. So we're going to have a Manchester United substitution. Looks like we are going to see the first action from Danny Williams, as he appears to be warming up That's headed away by Borthwick Jackson. And here is Danny Williams' good pal Alex Hunter, who's gone further back to try and get involved on the ball. Hasn't had much since the goal. Sanchez. And Henwood relentless and running at you. It's a scary sight because you're not really going to get him off the ball unless you crowd him like that. Because of the commentators there, I suppose. For Jackson. And he puts it away. Although not really thoroughly clear. And Didi. Madison. What a shot. Well, here comes Danny Williams, and it's going to be, I believe it's Paul Pogba making way for Danny. It certainly is. So we're going to see the first action of Danny Williams on the pitch. Like Alex Hunter, exit trial, promoted to a pro contract, and immediately mentioned like George Baker, like we mentioned in the first half. Good pass there from Williams to Martial. And Williams actually one of the goal scorers in the American Challenge Cup. Here's Alex Hunter. And another good strike. Martial back in. And Aaron Henwood. And he was thinking about it. He's been dispossessed. Now here come Leicester. Can they break here? They sort of semi-have. Albrighton goes by, but the shot is straight at De Gea. Also gets tackled by Borthwick Jackson. Borthwick Jackson doesn't take too kindly to that. It's a nice early ball, and Vardy has missed it. No, my apologies, that isn't Vardy, that's I think it's Gressel. In any case, it's just wide. Ibra's gone off in a Leicester substitution. I think there's Wes Morgan coming on. Oh, it's Andre. My apologies for that. Oh, Henwood. Wrestle. Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy's gone down. The referee's going to go over and book the player. And I think it's going to be Lindelof who gets booked. The referee's calling someone over. I'm not sure who it is. It's Harry Maguire, I think. Yes, it is. So the former Leicester man's going to get booked here.
Old Trafford, give a round of applause for
Well, I don't think there's much really complaints he can have, to be honest. It looks like a clear-cut foul to me. Booking two, so Jamie Vardy's going to take the free kick here. It's going to be interesting. Second man to come over. And it's fallen off for Gressel when Ibra, and a good save there by De Gea. That's an absolutely stunning save. Leicester had United at 6s and 7s there. Ibra gave that a whack, didn't he? He went through Martial's legs, and David De Gea kind of saw it the last second and outstretched his hand. It's a fantastic save. Is it a match-winning one for David De Gea? That's all. Marty! And it seems that Leicester are just throwing shots at United, hoping it pays off at one point, and it might. I think that'll be the one weakness for Manchester United. They attack with flamboyance, but it means defensively they could be a little bit weaker than most others. And Harry Maguire will certainly rectify that. I don't think he's rectified it enough today, although it won't matter because United will get the 3 points. Next to Alex Hunter and Alexis Sanchez with the goals today. And we're just going ball chasing. Just leave him to do that. While trying not to get a second yellow card, he doesn't have to worry. Manchester United get the first 3 points of the season. And they did it wonderfully, didn't they? Even though Sanchez's second goal was a header, it looked more better than it actually was, but they'll take it. And a debut goal for Alex Hunter as well. 2 debut goals for Hunter and Sanchez. It's the new boys that have put Manchester United on course for the first 3 points of the season, and that can only be good news, as they don't have to rely on Martial and Rashford so much as they had to do last year. It looks like the new boys are certainly making the cases for themselves. Sanchez and Hunter make it Manchester United 2, Leicester City 1. Leicester City scoring by Maddison, and a pretty good goal, but Manchester United are the ones getting the points. So let's have a look at the classified check at all the weekend's results, coinciding with our live coverage of Manchester United beating Leicester by 2-1. It was the same story at Newcastle United, as they fell to Spurs by the same scoreline, so probably no real surprises there. New Boys Cardiff, an honourable mention for holding Bournemouth to a 1-1 draw, while at Fulham it was a different story, losing by a 0-0 against Crystal Palace. Maurizio Sarri kicks off his campaign in the best way at Chelsea by beating Huddersfield by 2-1. Watford have lost to Brighton by 2-0, which puts them at the top of the table. It's the wrong stick. Wolves having an honourable mention, holding Everton to a 1-1 draw. Liverpool beating West Ham by 2-0. Burnley beating Southampton by a 0-0. And finally, not much to be expected from Nuno's first 2 games in charge. And of course, sadly, Arsenal lost to Manchester City. Only by a 0-0 though, so that's an honourable effort. That means for the Premier League table, Brighton are atop the table actually. Probably by most likely goal difference, although goal difference isn't actually a stat on this table for some reason. Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, that's 3 of the original, like the traditional top 5, actually 4 there with Spurs, just Arsenal unfortunately missing out with their loss to City. So 5 of the traditional top 6, as it were, are in the top 5. Burnley 6th, thanks to their win against Southampton today. Crystal Palace, Manchester City, all getting 3 points as well. The points are shared between Bournemouth, Cardiff, Everton and Wolves, meaning Huddersfield, Leicester, Newcastle, Arsenal, Fulham, Southampton, Watford and West Ham all on 0 points. But of course, there's only 1 game being played. We still have another 37 in this season to go. So let's have a look at this week's transfer stories. We'll start with Watford, who have lost Miguel Angel Bortris to EA Gunningham for 1.6 million there. In the Bundesliga, there's a bunch of stories breaking, one of which being TSG Hoffenheim, who have signed Tom Carey from Fulham, while Bayer Leverkusen have signed Andreas Christensen for £31.3 million from Chelsea. That could prove to be a very unpopular move from Maurizio Sarri, as Andreas Christensen is actually one of the most highly rated players of the club from fans. So that could prove to be a bit of a mistake. In Paris, well, more spending is being done by Paris Saint-Germain. They've bought William Jose from Real Sociedad for £31 million. In the Liga, there has been the loss of Daniel Carvajal. He's left Real Madrid to join Bayern Munich. Meanwhile, Unai Emery plans to inject a show of experience in his squad with Une Costa-Loca player Jose Pedro Fundeslia for £2.5 million there. A lot of world news coming in. We'll start with the UEFA Super Cup, as Atletico Madrid beat Real Madrid in the El Clasico by a 0-0, while the player of the competition was Atletico Madrid's Kalinic. Elsewhere, Sunderland are knocked out of the Carabao Cup against Leeds, while Barnsley defeat Blackburn Rovers on penalties, and Charlton have also defeated Plymouth Argyle by the same scenario. So Aaron Henwood's home team is unfortunately crashing out of the Carabao Cup. More transfer news. Liam Moore has signed for Brighton for £7 million from Reading, while Barcelona have spent big, £49.1 million rumoured to be the fee for Roma centre-back Castros Mondola. Sorry if I've butchered that name. But yeah, he signed for Barcelona. Finally, in the transfer news this week, Napoli have landed Danilo Pereira from FC Porto, and Bournemouth. And the final stories of the week, Napoli have landed Danilo Pereira from FC Porto for £33.8 million, and Bournemouth have accepted the selling of Junior Stanislas to FC Augsburg for £5.8 million there.